Hello, Augie. Hello, Eddie. Kitten. Hello, Augie. Hello, Eddie.
Hello and welcome back to Art Therapy with Jen. Today I am doing the completed flip through of my Witchy Journal. Oh my gosh, we made it, y'all. We're here. It's kind of surreal. And this is one of two versions of this flip through that I'm doing. So this is going to be the longer, like chattier flip through. It's going to be a long one, so grab a snack, grab a beverage, kick your feet up, get some journal materials and some glue sticks out. It's going to be a long one, but it's going to be fun. And I also have a shorter version that I will link in an iCard as well as down below, where after a very brief intro, I just flip pages and put music to the background. So if you just want to see the pages, that's more your style, or you want to check that out in addition to this one, like I said, it'll be linked in an iCard and down below. So let's dive right in. I'm ready. So we're going to start with the cover. So this cover is actually made of junk, like repurposed junk. So I don't know this journal. I know people try to label stuff. I don't really care about labels, but the cover's made out of junk. I used a lot of mixed media on the interior as well as scrapbook paper, repurposed calendars, magazines, paint, temporary tattoos, pens, inks, dyes, just whatever I felt like. But the cover is made out of junk. And if you've been with me since the beginning of this journal, this is not the original cover. So I believe in the thumbnail of the first or second video in my Witchy Journal series, you actually see the original cover. And I made it before I ever started having an idea to make this journal or do the pages. And it just ended up not being sturdy enough once I was ready to bind the pages, and it just wasn't thick enough in the spine. So this turned out to be a very hefty journal. That's why I say it's going to be a long video. And I made it out of a cereal box that I reinforced. I taped it around with like packing tape, but it's like the paper kind, not the plastic kind. And then I took some tissue paper like you put in a gift box, and I smushed it up and Mod Podged it on the top to kind of make this leathery texture. And then I took corrugated cardboard that I randomly ripped bits off of and glued on there, as well as this cardboard I had from some packaging that looks kind of like lattice work. And then I painted everything matte black. And once it was painted matte black, I went over with these little metallic-y, chromey type paints that I had to give it this quality. When it moves, it has kind of a glow and just all kinds of different colors come out. And then I bound it using easy twine binding, and I added this little sun, which was part of an old wind chime that fell apart. So just fun. I love this cover. Like, I just love it. And it's real sturdy because I am not easy on things. So, and before I flip on in here, I did want to talk about a little bit what I was going for with this journal. So this is kind of like a witchy Rolodex in a way, but really a lot of it is like, these people are normal on the surface, like normal, like, but if you look under the surface, there's more to the story. And if you know what you're looking for, you see the magic of it and you see who they really are. Like, one person is not just like an apothecary. They're mixing stuff up for a witchy purpose. Or they're not just like a high society couple. Like, there's something behind there. And this is kind of what you flip through to see that, if that makes sense, and like a cat is never just a cat, and a dog is never just a dog. But anyway, I'll talk more as we flip through it. So let's crack it open here. Get started with my little show and tell. And I'm just going to prop the journal up a little bit, so bear with me a moment. It is pitch black dark outside, so for some reason my light cast a pretty bad glare on my magazine stuff when it's dark outside. So there's probably some scientific reason for that, but I'm just going to prop it up using my little cat post-it holder. So anyway, so as we look in here, I keep the inner covers very plain. So I just left it that matte black. And then on this side, the first page, I used pattern cardstock that you would have like scrapbook paper for the background, and then I tore this strip of the skull image that's in black and white to put on top of it, and I really like that kind of juxtaposition with like the gory skulls and the kind of feminine print on the back, which the print's kind of a little unsettling too, how it's illustrated, because the flowers kind of look like they have veins or something. I don't know. I dig it. It's unsettling. I like it. And then the words here there are stories of champions and legends, witches, and then really small, are you one of us? Alrighty, and getting into the first pages here. This is all magazine, sourced from tons of different places. I was sourcing images for this for like years before I started this journal. I just happened to be, when I was doing harvests, I was like, oh, this is kind of witchy. This is a neat color palette. And it just kind of built from there. So we have the Insider's Guide to the Inner Passage. And we have our little cat here. Like I said, a cat is never just a cat. So this is kind of one of our guides here, or our familiar, if you will. And then over here it says Secret Garden for Her Future and Your Own. And in the background, they're kind of in an estate, and they are in this really large, fancy, like royal garden. So thought that was neat. And just different things. It's all magazine except for one piece of scrapbook paper. And I just love mixing different things together and making it work. And it works for me. I really like it. Favorite pages. You'll hear me say that a lot. I have a lot of favorite pages. Journals are so personal to me that I have a lot of favorite pages. Alrighty, now these, we have our collector here. She's the collector. She's kind of weird. She collects some strange things, but when you need an ingredient, you go into her. And she's actually from a free clothing catalog. So you can find images anywhere, y'all. Companies spend a lot of money on advertisements and to make them look eye-catching, and there are just wonderful images in there. And we have some temporary tattoos on there in addition to the magazine. Then over here we have Living History, Cat Eye, Creature Comforts, and the Guide. So again, we have a cat guide. They know a lot. They just have to feel like sharing it with you. Alrighty, let's go ahead and flip here. So we have my rocker girls here. So we have Into the Light. Then there's this moth temporary tattoo that I put down, and then this chain. And I just love this. I just used her image for the background, and then I ripped these chain link fence images and put over the top and bottom to kind of frame it. On this side we have Why Music is the Language of the Soul, Still Standing, We're Pushing the Limits and Expanding. So we have a combination of magazine, temporary tattoos, and then the top and bottom borders are actually old calendars. Another really good source for images. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and flip it. Two more favorites. Alrighty, so this is the first of these. We'll see quite a few of these in this journal. These kind of inked backgrounds. So before I ever had the idea to start this journal, I took a whole bunch of mixed media paper and I was just playing around with different inks and sprays and, just kind of playing with them to see what type of effect you could get. And so I had all these mixed media papers with all this different ink that I just smeared around on them and sprayed on them. And when I started this journal, I thought they'd be a really good addition because they kind of remind me of when I used to go to the flea market, or I had a flea market booth, and there was always this lady that had a booth where she took pictures of your aura for a fee, and you could see your magical aura. And that's what these remind me of. So to me, it's if you're in the know, you're able to see this kind of visual representation of that magical energy, if that makes sense. So by looking through this book, you're able to see that. All right. And and before I go on too, so the pages in this journal are made out of mixed media paper and the ones with the backgrounds like this and old manila folders. So again, kind of an art supply and junk. And then on this left side here, one of my favorites, I just love how those separate background images all came together to kind of build that color palette. We have Full Moon Rising and the Ghost City. And over here we have Capture Me. Two more of my favorite pages. Alrighty, and on these pages, we have You Gave Me What You Did Not Have. I Gave You What I Had to Give. Together we made something greater from the difference. When I walk with you. Where I go, you're with me always. And then we have The Great Awaits, and We're in This Together. Now this was interesting because this made a really great story to me. Another fun thing about this journal is I did most of these pages loose. I did all of the pages loose actually before I actually bound them in, like all the backgrounds. And once I bound them in, I started adding additional focal images and words and embellishments. But the bulk of the journal, both time and the work, was done with loose pages. So when I went to finally bind the journal, it was interesting to see what pages ended up next to each other. So that's another part of the magic that I enjoyed. But this one's, it created a story for me. So if you notice, the hands are in the same position, here and here. So to me, that's the same person, and these are just two different moments. Also, you have these kittens underneath the hand, and this kitten's in the same position as her. Her blonde hair is very similar to the color of the fur of the kitten, and the sweater is dead on for the color of the kitten. So that tells me this is the same being as well. And there's definitely, like I said, a story there, and I find it interesting. Okay, so on the next one, we have some more of this inked background. And it says, in her element, slaying demons, my heritage has taught me just how universally connected we are. And we have this vintage photo, and or vintage photo in a magazine. And then she's right here, kind of channeling the power of her ancestry there, because that's another big thing. And all the witchiness is all this passed down traditions, very big on, heritage and all that. And another fun thing I did in this journal that was new to me, I took these just really angular strips of paper and I kind of weaved them in and out of a lot of the girls in here as another way to kind of represent that power and magic as well. This page is another one of my favorites on the right here. Very simple, just magazine. We have 4 magazine images for the back, these girls on the front, and then it says unsettling. And to me, so all these girls are dressed very similar, and this one girl, she looks very like, what's going on? Like, she showed up to this meeting and nobody told her it was like some different kind of meeting, so she's a little unsettled. Alrighty, and then these next pages here, so this is all magazine as well, no pen added. One piece of scrapbook paper there. A lot of bits and like strips that I added on, and something from a book there. So it's a little bit of a mix. We have in the palm of your hand and light as air. It reminds me of that light as a feather, stiff as a board. Did y'all ever play that growing up? And this is just an industrial fan in the background, and then we have palm reading, and then these awesomely styled ladies here. And then on the right, this tells me a story as well. So it says Dark Phoenix and Playing with Fire. So this is an example of what I was talking about. So she just looks like a normal, like kind of, upper class lady, we'll say. But really she's a phoenix. And you kind of see that, like, she's taken this form, but you kind of see that played out in her furniture and her fashion choices. It's all fire colors and all these different rich kind of autumnal tones, and there's a little more there. They always said she was fiery, but they didn't realize it was literally. Okay, and then on the next page here, this is magazine, temporary tattoos, and then a little bit of paint on the side here. And then a lot of little scraps used. And I have a little bit of paint there as well. So it says the new high society. What's your secret? The dark cult with billionaires, and every dream has a price. So that is definitely a story there as well. I think there's a different side to it. Not everybody's going to use their power for good, for sure. And over here we have Faith and Fury, Anatomy of a Monster, and The Price of Revenge. What do y'all think she did? Or is about to do? I wonder. Hopefully just not to me. Alrighty, and next we have, this is another one of those pattern kind of cardstock pieces on the back here, and then some temporary tattoos, some magazine, and then this is from an old die cut pack. And I thought this was fun because I found these images way far apart, but the girls look similar. So to me, this girl in this period dress is the same as this girl in the modern dress. It says timeless and something in the water, because people are starting to figure out, dude, you look a lot like this girl in this old portrait here. Like, what's up with that? Another one of my favorite pages over here, just magazine. It says flowers are never just flowers. You might just find a little skull in there. Never know. Alrighty, and then on this one here, so we have Death Becomes Him and Beware the Whistler. So I thought it was neat. Have this statue here, which I don't think he's a Grim Reaper. I think it's more of a monk, but I'm going to take creative license with that. And then we have kind of this modern interpretation of that. And I can't help but think of, I don't know if any of y'all ever read On a Pale Horse, like the Piers Anthony series. And it just reminds me of kind of, I always have that version of the Grim Reaper in my head, like where that station is kind of passed down. And I just imagine that like all of these Grim Reapers before him have always just worn the old drab robe all the time. And he's like, nah, I'm gonna spice this up a little bit. So he's a little bit more important than what meets the eye when you first see him, for sure. Okay, and then over here, this is magazine with a little bit of embellishment with a gel pen. Has some gel pen over here as well. It says Bag of Tricks and Alchemy. So this girl here, she is very Instagram ready. Like, she's ready to go. But she has this kind of sinister workshop that she doesn't put in the background of her photos, for sure. Definitely a little more going on there. Alrighty, now we have these pages next. So we have a familiar that is a dog, because why not? And this is another one of those instances where I was weaving the paper strips in and out, playing around with that. And it says Two for the Road and Ghost Dog. And then we have some temporary tattoos and a little bit of metallic marker on there. Then over here, have an ink background with magazine, gel pen, and temporary tattoos. And it says, we didn't want anything to be off limits, magic wand, and trade secrets. Just have this cool image here with like that smudge stick, which has flower blossoms in it. That's a new one for me, but maybe that's a thing now. I just always see the plain ones with the abalone shells. But I'm digging it. I like it. Okay, let me grab that there. Okay, so on the next ones here, we have Free Spirited. She is beauty personified, allurement, clothed in form, enchantment itself. And this is actually a waste page from the ink. So this is the stuff that kind of like ran off the pages underneath and just created kind of these cool splatters. And then over here, so we have, this is actually on the back, metallic paint mixed with some salt and some black ink that's been kind of sprayed on and rubbed off. So it has this kind of metallic sheen to it there. Lesson learned here from me, salt on top of watercolor or, something that takes a little bit to dry, like watercolor, acrylic inks, things like that. It can create this really cool, like, mottled effect if you use sea salt. But magazine does not like to stick to it after you use salt. Just FYI. But we have Matters of the Heart and Shelter. Learned that the hard way. Learned it. Had fun with it. Alrighty. Now, these pages here, so this is actually some soft pastel on the background mixed with some of the black ink that rolled off of another page to create these kind of organic splatters. Then we have magazine, we have temporary tattoos, and then a little bit of gel pen swirling around. And it says, "It is in the spirit of togetherness that we will rise." And then over here, I played around. I had a lot of fun with this. So I would kind of cut different elements of her, like the arms, and I would slide these decorative strips of the scrapbook paper underneath part of her. Try to create kind of this dimensional look. It was fun. We also have those paper strips, the tattoos, some gel pen, and then some words. It says Goddess of War and Keys to the Empire. She is ready. Alrighty, and then next here, this is all magazine other than I did a little bit of a grungy gel pen border around the words there. It says, "There might be magic in the world and sacred ground." So this was a solid image. I think it's actually from my alma mater magazine. Of this city, and then I fussy cut her out of a bridal magazine, I believe, and put her on top of there, and she kind of reads to me as kind of this ghost or entity that kind of haunts the street. So I was really digging that. It's sacred ground, and if you're on her sacred ground, she is coming for you. Okay, and then here we have the motorcycle, this burning building, and then this lady here, and it says, "First you see the orange glow of the ignition. Then you feel the sound waves from the engine actually beating against your chest. It's an emotional experience." And then we have energy boost. So she is definitely feeling that fire element for sure. Some people might think she's just a biker chick. But again, she's a little more than that. So these pages here. So the background is some more of that patterned scrapbook paper. And then we have this wonderful cat here. Now this cat is more of a storyteller for us. You know, she's been around. She has some stories to tell about some things that have gone down. And then I also did a little bit of scribbling with some gel pen on there. Same over here, magazine and some scribbling. We have special brew, and the earth has taken excellent care of us. So again, she's got her mortar and pestle there. She is not messing around. And she makes a mean spice rub, but she also makes a mean mixture for the cauldron as well. You know, it's just how it goes. And I just love these little images. It looks like there's a bunch of like specimen jars, and then there's her comfy couch, and she's got her mortar and pestle, and then just this eerie forest back there. I love it. So the next pages here are, let's see, I didn't skip one, did I? Nope. Okay, so we have the dead zone and time travel. He just really gave me vibes. Like, did y'all remember the show Dead Zone? It just really gave me those vibes. But we have all these kind of fanciful, kind of more old world decorations there, and he's here, and he gives me time travel vibes. So he's kind of from this time. And that's why people say he's an old soul, but he's really actually an old soul. And then here we have a tomb in the background, and also some industrial. I want to think they're doing gravel or coal. And it says buried treasure, the departed, the dragon's lair, and the crystal. I cannot say this word to save my life. Sepulture. So I have not been able to say this word since I was in grade school reading Edgar Allan Poe's Annabel Lee. It's the same thing. It's kind of like an ornate tomb. Sepulture. Y'all bear with me. For real though, I practiced that word in school so much because it was in Annabel Lee, that Edgar Allan Poe poem. Never could say it. My country self never could say it. But just embrace it with me, y'all. So the next set of pages here, so we have, again, this is like a mixture of inks and sprays. Then this is some soft pastels and some run over ink. And we have her, the magazine image, and then this really cool dream catcher tattoo, and that says she became a part of us, or maybe it is more accurate to say she took possession of the place, of the pastures, of the mountain, and the humans on it. So she's kind of the spirit of the place for sure. Then over here, we have, it's a conversation that has been 3,500 years in the making. Revolutionaries and tradition is a tricky word. Now, I have questions about this now that I started working on this journal again and finished it. So I sourced these images, or I harvested them, or what have you, put them in my stash ages ago. Like, this image is at least 2 years old, maybe more. Do y'all see? They have masks on. What? I have questions. I have questions. Just saying. Like, just saying. It's kind of eerie and it's unsettling me, and I'm kind of living for it right now, but I have questions. Because that was from a long time ago already. And we have this mix of that metallic paint on the background there. And it says, the power couple and more than meets the eye. I really had to struggle not to do that in the Transformer voice, but you know, they just look like this high society couple out having fun, going to fancy restaurants, fancy clubs, but they kind of got their money from a little somewhere supernatural, if you know what I mean. And then over here, we have Children of Blood and Bone and the Sea Dweller. And I thought this was neat because I found all these images that had 2 people in them. So these are kind of special siblings, if you will. And there's always power in that siblings, and they all look like twins, really. So just fun. And I just went around with some gel pen and just kind of grunged up the background a little bit. Okay, and then we have A Little Darkness Never Killed Anybody, and In Good Time. She's waiting for something. Something's gonna go down. But she's magical and she lives a long time, so she don't care to wait. She will outwait you. And then over here we have, when you have a loud mind as I do, you go to places that quiet you. And then Strong Southern Women. So we have this Southern cemetery in the background. And going to the cemetery up here, that is one of the places that I feel really peaceful. I know that might be strange for some of y'all. Like, my family's buried up there, and I'll go decorate the graves and weed the graves. And it's just such a wonderful and peaceful place to go to. I've never been scared of them. In fact, my family owns that cemetery. My uncle maintains it, and I've never seen them as scary stuff. Like, I'm more scared of the sketchy characters walking the streets at night in my neighborhood than I would ever be of a cemetery. So I just thought that was pretty neat. And again, we have the magazine and some of the scrapbook paper in there. My dad always says, it ain't the dead ones you got to worry about. True that. What are they going to do? Like, scare me a little bit? Go ahead. I worked in customer service for almost 20 years. Try. But anyway, so we have the scrapbook paper cardstock for the background there. And then these different magazine images. And it says Dead Sea and What the Water Gave Me. I just love how these kind of all came together. And this hand coming up out of the water is just really creepy to me. I love it. And then on the side here, this is all magazine. From the top, it says An Energy from the Land, Raw and Untamed. Nature Knows What Works. And then Late Bloomer. And these are just all different images kind of overlaid, like this rose and all this vegetation and things. Just a fun, like, she is definitely, we have water, we have earth, we had some fire before. Now we just need wind and heart, right? Alright, let me get this flipping here. Sorry, I'm trying to flip around my mic here, so give me some grace. Alrighty, so for these, it says, we usually prefer to take a gentler attitude toward our dark side. Into the Mystic and Dream Odyssey. And this is magazine and then some black gel pen kind of swirled around. And then over here we have Uncommon Sense, The Cult of Cleansing, Bag of Tricks, and Boost Your Natural Energy. So we have this kind of vintage vanity here with all this vintage skincare and cleansers and perfumes and these candles. It almost feels like a ritual. And I like how that kind of tied in there with all the colors. Okay. And there we go. And we'll go ahead and do this. So I have the magazine, and this is a metallic piece of scrapbook paper there. And it says, the healing touch, not permanence but change, its pace and its direction are all that matter, and moonlight and roses. And then over here I have another one of the splatter ink backgrounds, and then this bridesmaid, which bridesmaids read really well as covens in a witchy journal. I live for it. And it says a shared belief. Maybe they are one and the same. I don't know. Okay, so oh gosh, did I just move it? Hold on. There we go. Professional. So this next page here, so this is magazine with a little bit of marker and gel pen. So it says Mysterious and Secrets of the Kingdom. So it's this neat portrait I found. I think they were mimicking kind of a cameo portrait, and I cut her out and put her on top of this table setting. Then over here, this is one of the first pages I ever did. She just reads to me like, welcome to my parlor. Like, what was that story growing up about the spider, right? That said, always said like, welcome to my parlor. Trying to sneak them in, but it says Halls of Horror and If Walls Could Talk. So they'd be saying some pretty messed up stuff that she's done, I do believe. And then these next pages here. So this is magazine. On this side, magazine and a little bit of gel pen just scribbled around. It says Catch a Fire and the Land of Fire and Ice. And over here we have another one of the mixed media backgrounds. It says The Mountain of the Undead, Fire on the Mountain, and Holy Smoke. So, and I really liked that I found these temporary tattoos because this chain link matches with these links over here. And I just thought that was really neat. But that is definitely something going on in that Fire of the Mountain. I wouldn't go up there and check it out, I'll tell you that. Alrighty, and then we have this spread here. And I like the way this background came out because it's almost like galaxy, unintentional, but I really like it. And it kind of tied into our words here. So we have Stitch in Time, Ghost, and Begin Again. Then we have Star-crossed lovers know if they keep looking skyward, eventually those stars might just align, and Romantic Charm. And I found these like two really busted dolls that were in similar positions as these two. It says Stitch in Time. So for me, like these two, they keep kind of, I don't know, being reincarnated or coming back at different times, and they're trying to get everything to line up so they can begin again and make it work this time. Something always happens to keep them apart. And it also says ghost, so maybe they're ghost, and maybe they hang around and they keep trying to make it work, but it hasn't yet because they're star-crossed, but they keep trying. I think they'll get it. Okay, so next we have the right alchemy can make a disempowered group feel empowered, feel that they are valued, have ceremony, and find your path. And these three ladies were actually from the same image. And I just ripped them up and put one over here and two over here. And then this background is more of the mixed media materials. And then this is magazine. Love these pages as well. Love them all. Could never choose favorite pages. So over here we have Bronze Menagerie. And they are a little like children. Some grow themselves. Others you have to battle and fight. And we have our little birds here with this really ornate old world dining room. It feels like there should be a fancier name. Formal dining room. I don't know, I feel like a lot of these witches, especially if they've been around for generations, they have kind of opulent old world taste. Then the background here is some more of that scrapbook paper, and we have some temporary tattoos. And then I fussy cut this image on top of the hand with the tarot card. It says the maestro and she sees you. Got eyes in the back of her head. You ain't hiding from her. If she don't see you, the cards will. Okay, and then over here, this is a magazine with a little bit of marker doodling and some gel pen doodling. Oh, and some scrapbook paper there. So it says, I believe the world is incomprehensibly beautiful, an endless prospect of magic and wonder. We have on the horizon. Over here we have what's a mystical experience, and I am out of my head and fully present in my body, and it feels downright ecstatic. She is living her metallic fantasy, loving it. She is definitely, metal is her element for sure. For sure. Oh, and these are two more of my absolutely favorite pages. And they came together at different times. This is one of the first pages I finished. And this, I didn't add her as a focal image until, gosh, the last few videos. And it just worked out perfect. So we have Witchy Woman and Drop into the Unknown. And, you know, she was fussy cut and placed on this mix of images in the background. And to me, she is just this bad chick in the bayou. Like, you do not roll up on her house. She got, you know, the bone wind chimes. Every movie stereotype I can think of, right? But she is like that old school, you know, witch on the bayou there, or out in the south. And I just say that because I see the swamp and stuff out there, and that's what TV tells me that it looks like. So and then on the right here, this is just a different little bits of magazine, all you know, glued together. And it says a spectral ship, and every corner you turn you have an experience. And it was fun. I kind of laid this on its side, so the doors actually look like the floor and ceiling, and we have, you know, maybe this is a hidden place in this big city. And I just like that it's kind of disorienting, and it kind of makes your eye move in a spiral, and I like it. Alright, now we have this page. It's probably the creepiest page in the journal here, how it came together. So this whole background is a magazine image. I went around and smoked out some gel pen around it just to give it some more interest in that, for that black background. And it says, there's something about the human touch that is transferred in the act of creation. Made me feel human, in quotes again. I mean, this is uncanny valley territory. Like, what is this guy building, and what is going on here? Definitely something sinister, and probably a little bit sad as well. So on the next page here, we have Sphere of Influence, Meet the Beauty and the Beast, and the Lady's Lair. So we have this really cool kind of, I imagine her office has this red light and these plants, and then we have a bunch of skulls in a cave down here. And I used some scrapbook paper on there. Okay, so our next pages, used a mix of materials over here, and then this is magazine and gel pen. It says, don't underestimate your power. Hate is potent, but so is kindness and goodness and grace. Use yours generously. And then we have the angel's broken heart and face the elements. And then over here, we have, it makes me feel like I'm not alone or lost, that there's some divine purpose, and I will manifest lessons from ancient temples. Okay, and then next, this background is, again, inks, and then actually construction paper that's been torn up and put on top of that in different shapes, and then inked on top, and then I just went to town. And this is that couple. There's definitely more than meets the eye to them, and it says, I just knew. Secret life between the lines. And then over here we have being honest about where you're at and not feeling like you need to hide your true self is pretty badass. Agree. And just magazine, and then I went around with paint and marker around her, and then some temporary tattoos there. Okay, and then we have fierce things to come and practical magic. Like, these were the grunge goth girls when I was in high school. They even have oh, that must be her earrings, but I remember when the girls would actually braid string and stuff into their hair, like especially the ones that were more well off and went to Florida on vacations and stuff. And they would come back with like all these I don't know what you call it, where it was kind of sewn into the hair. So they're ready. Like, they are not the girls to mess with in high school. And then over here we have body armor, force of nature, and stop letting your potential go to waste because you don't feel ready enough. I just love the him on top of that kind of feminine scrapbook background there. Digging it. Okay, and then we have maybe instead we should learn how to be less terrified of death, the road of the dead, and paranormal. I just love this. I don't know if it's boxwood or what type of plant or bush it is, but they've cut it to look like a skull and really dig that. And then this is a one full image on the back with words on top, and she's overlooking this really ornate kind of old world feast, because we have the taper candles, which just add that little bit of charm. And it says, I love for women to remain both powerful and undefined, ever so slightly enchanting, delicate delights, and eat like a queen. Oh, love these pages. These are favorites as well. Love them. So we have Light My Fire, Enchanted Forest, and Magic Touch. And these little plant images I found, they actually put like faux eyes, like these really eerie looking creature eyes on these odd looking plants. So I found the Chapel of Glass Eyes, the House of Dreams, and you think humans are reasonable, but soon you figure out they're crazy. And then you just have her, she's just sitting in this ornate chair. Like, I just imagine this is her house with all these plants. And, and then we have the girl over here lighting the fire lantern. I could just look at these all day. I love the colors and everything. Okay, and then next, we have, these are a combination of images I found from books and magazines, and a little bit of marker and pen thrown in there as well. So it says, Head in the Clouds, Treasure Hunter, Strength of the Woman, Ghastly, Sinister Statues. We have this bone chandelier back there, and Earthy Delights. And, she's sitting there. I imagine this is her house, and there's just all these wonderful things she's collected over the years. That, at first glance, you just think she's just eccentric, right? But there's really more to it. It says she's a treasure hunter, so these are treasures she's definitely picked up over the years. Okay, and then next, we have, this is magazine and marker, and then we have the magazine image of him, and then we have the matte black paint. And I went over it with gel pen and smoked it out in marker. So we have Pure Fantasy, and I will light up every room I walk into. So definitely a light element type guy. And then we have Other Pursuits and Wild Rebel. And there's our little guide cat again. Or maybe he is the cat. They do look similar. What do y'all think? Okay, and then we have Free Spirits. And I just went around the background there with a black gel pen and smoked that out just for some visual interest. And then we have Be the Charm. And another cat. I mean, I'm a cat lady. I can't help it. Alrighty, so we have I hit the mic there. We have Right as Rain, Between Water and Sky. Just have them mixed, and I didn't realize this now, but it's kind of neat. So we have these three girls, and then they have these three little like creature skulls in the basket there. So what are they preparing? Because there's one for each of them there. I wonder what they're gonna do. I just love how kind of airy it looks where they're standing up there, and I don't know. I like it. And this is another one of my favorite pages, and it's just a big mixture of a bunch of different scraps that came together. It says, One touch of nature makes the whole world kin. Call of the Wild and Mysteries of the Deep. And I like this because to me it almost seems like you're riding along, in your, like, what's it called? Like a fan boat, those boats in Florida that got the big old fan on the back. And you kind of see her through the trees and you do a double take. Like you're going through and you're like, what? There's something happening across the water for sure. But you don't need to worry about it. You just keep going. Alrighty, and next we have The Screaming Ghost Well, The Woods, and The Creepiest Place. On top of my creepy woods there. And then we have this guy. I think I found him in an interior design magazine. And I just did this really colorful border around. Again, kind of trying to show that magic, that visual of magic. And it says The Enemy Within and The Year of the Mad King. I bet he talks to his bird there. But what people don't know is the bird listens, and when nobody else is around it, it actually talks back. It probably speaks 3 or 4 languages if we're thinking about it. I think birds live a long time, so a lot of time to learn. But anyway, and then this is just purely magazine. So we have The Timekeepers and Unleash the Power to Maximize Every Second. And then we have Old World Charm. Okay, oh, and I love these two. This is another favorite set here. So we have The Other Side of Reality, and then Sanctuary. And I just love these red tones. I always love too when I can find really cool images of guys to use, because I feel like, believe it or not, it's very hard to find them. So if y'all know of any magazines or anything that have good guy images in there, let me know. Sometimes I like to mix it up a little bit, but I just love these here. It's just another one I could just look at the different color palettes and things all day long. Okay, and for these, the background is a combination of this skull image from a book and then this turkey feather scrapbook paper. And it says, "You take my soul." And we live with the unsettling sense that with the slightest tug, our carefully conceived plans could instantly unravel. Like, what a Debbie Downer, right? But she's real. She's being a realist. Okay, and then over here, this page was a bear to get her to stick. This is one of those where I used that salt technique to make that mottled effect. Looks good. Magazine does not like it. So we have this temporary tattoo. She's fussy cut on top of this background that says, "These sacred powers can help you meet challenges and open your heart." She is looking for love, y'all, and she's going to use any spell to get it. I'm thinking it may be a potion with a number 9 on it, but that's just me. Alrighty, and then we have, I really like this page as well. It says, "The seer in our midst. You don't do things because everyone will see them. You do things in good spirits." So he runs this little quirky shop here with his awesome hand-painted card. But people don't know he's really a seer. And he sees a lot more than people think he does. And then over here, this is Pure Magazine. So it says, "Your skills and abilities can help better the world." The Immortalist, and then Fire Witch Dianthus, which was actually from a flower magazine or flower catalog, but it said Fire Witch and Dianthus, so I'm saying that's her. She is the Fire Witch Dianthus. Alrighty, and then I have these pages. And these, I was so glad when they came together. This was that spread that I just kept adding to, and it never really felt finished until we got to the very end. We have these just really unsettling skull images, and then this fashion shoot where they look like a total, like, cult in the woods. And it says, "The Temple of Death, there's implicit strength in the ritual. Vampire Graveyard, and it's wicked." And we just have all these little bits and ripped up leftovers strewn throughout there as well. Okay. Alright. I keep feeling like I'm skipping. Sorry, y'all. Another one of my favorites. Probably one of the simplest pages in here. So this was one big image. And then I took this side and I ripped the image off. And I flipped it upside down and I put it over here. So this is actually the purse that she has. And I just like how that flows on there. And it says evening song, pattern recognition, and dreams. Do y'all remember phone booths? I remember phone booths. How did we not all get sick from phone booths? Do y'all remember the 1-800 collect cards? Those were the best commercials. On the right here, we have time is a prison and she is the key. And we just have magazine there. Okay. And then over here we have, it feels like all the world can see them. So 2 interesting ladies on that mixed media background there. Oh, and I really like this one because I found the words and it went with this kind of, jewelry display. And the jewelry looks like very handmade and very old world. And, this witch here, she's a jewelry maker, but, there's more to her jewelry than meets the eye. And we have the secret passageways of the palace and the strange obsessions of a king unlock the doors of a jeweler's wildest imaginations. So there's a lot of story behind her inspiration for sure. Okay, and then we have this magazine image, and then this is scrapbook paper that's been ripped to act as a border that looks like boards. A border, yes. And we have Ignite and the Burning Place. And then here, we have this background that came from an alma mater magazine from my college. And it's this hand-drawn skeletal rib cage and this greenery here. And then I fussy cut her and placed her on top of it. And it says the Hanging Graves. So I really enjoy that page. It was another one that didn't come together till almost the end. Alrighty, and then this is Purely Magazine. So majestic, uncommon beauty. Look at this beautiful dog familiar. Like, he is majestic. Like, oh, love him. And then over here, this is a mix of magazine and scrapbook. So it says, my life's work, and it is insane to think that I could have destroyed it. And then Goddess Power down here. And this is a whole floral witchy moment there. Okay, so on this page, this was a full magazine page, and then I just painted the background out, and then I added some texture with gel pen on top of it later. And it says, what if they are the true dwelling of the holy, these fleeting temples we make together when we say stories of fantasy. And then we have, she's fussy cut on top of this background here, which is a mix of calendar and scrapbook paper, and it says, eat, drink, and be scary. Very appropriate for Halloween. I don't know about this year. I ain't chancing anything. Alrighty. And over here we have Goth Spell. This is all magazine. And then Fire and Ice. We have the Fire and Ice there. Then we have the Maze of Madness and Follow Her Lead. She is parting those weeping willow branches, and she is guiding you into some madness. Y'all think she's really going to show you the way? Or do you think it's going to be more nefarious than that? What y'all think? I'm 50-50 on it. Okay, and then we have another one of these mixed media backgrounds, and we have the skull fussy cut on top of it. This is the Church of Bones. And there's an energy. Oh, there we go. There's an energy in the old museum. It's like a third dimension. You feel like you're living 1,000 lives. Because probably some of those things in the museum, when you turn your head, did they look like they moved? Did they really move? I don't know. Are the picture or the eyes on that picture really following you? I don't know. Now on the right here, this is magazine. It says, I'm a firm believer in divine guidance. I let it do what it has to do. Okay. Then next we have Reaching for the Star Maker. And we have the fire there. And then the hand's been fussy cut with the earth element through there. Now over here, that splatter background with magazine image, and it says Halfling. Okay. And then this is 2 magazine images and then these bits for the border. It says Salt of the Earth Women and Spiritually Awake. 2 of my favorite pages too. Super simple. Okay, and then this is another instance where I was weaving those strips in and out, and it says the stars are aligning. So, and I really enjoyed this, and I didn't notice this until way later, that her dress is actually the phases of the moon and with the stars. So, awesome. And then this is magazine, and then I took some marker and some gel pen and kind of smoked out that background. It was just a plain black background. And it says beautiful magic audience, and this story didn't come together till the very end either. So to me, she is a performer, and she's a magician, and you know, magicians have their tricks, but she's the real deal. She's the real deal. But you know, we can't tell anybody that. Okay. And then this is all magazine. It says Down to Earth. And she was fussy cut on that background there. And then this mystical makeover. Okay. And then we have With the Queen. And Creepy and Fear Factor. Pinterest on the front. Creepy Graveyard on the back. Okay. Oh, and then these are two of my favorite pages as well. So this is all magazine, and then I just did a marker border around these words. So it says the stars have aligned. The stars have aligned. And we have a lot of the different elements here, and then she's in the middle. Like, she has gathered her supplies, and it's about to go down. And then over here it says, I added these words. I kind of spliced them from different areas, and it says, what everyone gets wrong about the harvest. Why are we really harvesting? Okay, and then we have Revenge of the Trees. Then this ring ad's been fussy cut on top of these, this mix of images and these creepy, wonderful trees there. And then we have Pure Hocus Pocus. Very fall vibes with that palette. Love it. Okay, and then we have Make Believe, If It Unlocks the Full Potential. And these are just two larger images that I kind of cut and merged them together on there. So kind of opposites, but they work well together. And then we have the One Fantastic Woman of Queen City. And she's fussy cut on top of that mixed media background there. Okay, and then we have some temporary tattoos, scrapbook for the background, and then the magazine. It says Bohemian Born and Truth Teller. So, she's probably that fortune teller you see and you're like, yeah, another gimmick. She really knows her stuff though, but can't tell you why that is. And then this is one of the very first pages I did for the journal, and I was like, hey, I'm going to try to do a witchy journal, because this is my first ever theme journal that I've ever done. And so this is a magazine that has been painted on top of, and I tried these little branch stencils, because I love creepy trees and bare branches. Like, it's a thing. Also power lines against the sky, love it. But it says, for those who dare enter, magic awaits. And this was done with white out that I outlined with pen, and then we have some temporary tattoos on there. So there we go. Another couple first pages that I did, some of my favorites. Absolutely, I just get so happy when I see these pages. So we have Paradise Relocated, and it's all just magazine, and one little die cut piece there. And this says Satan's Caves, and it's just all this different strips that I tried to put together to kind of create kind of a swirl into there. So really dig those, and I love the color palette together. Okay, so we have on the left, and this is all magazine. So on the left it says, if writing is thinking and discovery and selection and order and meaning, it is also awe and reverence and mystery and magic. So she's a writer. What kind of books y'all think she writes? I'm curious. It could go either way. She could do deeply technical books, very bone dry, if you will. Or she could write some fantastical stuff. People think, where does she come up with this stuff? Then on the right it says, cultivate a kind of cultish mystique. So, Alrighty, and then we have a mix of magazine here, and I did do some borders around the words with marker and pen. And we on the left it says Charmed, and we have another little cute dog familiar there. He's precious, love him. And then on the right it says Women and Ghostly Magic, and then Why Evil Exists. And we have this basket of bones, and then her in the forest there in a couple different positions. Okay. And another couple of my favorite pages, and these are so simple. This is a full magazine image with words, and then this is a couple images put together. This is The Garden of Good and Evil. Love it. And then we have the last page here. Love it as too. I didn't do any type of embellishment on there or anything. I thought it was good just as is, and it's just this photo of someone with a bunch of rings, and I think there was quite a depressing story that actually went with that image, and I thought it was a good end. Like, here are the rings of our witches. So I'm gonna go ahead and close it up. We made it, y'all. We made it. So again, I want to thank y'all so much for going on this witchy journey with me. Thank you for the encouragement. Thank you for all the love you're giving the channel and, you know, my witchy journal here. Thank you for tuning in for Witchy Journal October. It was definitely a lot of work, but a labor of love. I had so much fun with it. And we're going back to the every other week in November again, but I had fun with this special event, and I hope to do another one in the future for sure, maybe quarterly or something like that. But thank y'all so much. Thank you for listening to my rambles. If you're still on here listening now, bless you. I hope this inspires you to crack out those journal materials. I'd like to do another theme journal like this. This is the first one I've ever done with a central theme. I have a couple ideas brewing in my head, but it's really going to come down to when I start harvesting and what images I have that kind of come together. But I do have a couple different categories that I want to look out for. So I have rambled on far enough. So thank y'all so much again. Thank you for coming on the witchy journey. If you want to see it from the beginning, you can check out the playlist. And I hope y'all had a fabulous Halloween, and I hope y'all have a fabulous day. And yeah, I will see y'all in a couple weeks in the next journal video. Bye, guys.